What's happening, mate? You good?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
What was that pose all about? Javern didn't switch the cameras over quick enough. But yeah, do it again. Show everybody what you're doing. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't do it again. But there we go. But these lights do make my skin look so bad. Look how red I look.
What's wrong with your skin, bro?
Like, I have
radiant.
No, I have a condition that makes my cheeks and my forehead red. But
what's it called?
Rose something.
Rosantia.
Something nonsense. I got cream for it. They say you get it when you get older, but yeah, no. But the lights in here, I literally can see spots I had when I was 12.
It's gonna happen to me, or
probably not, bro.
Oh,
probably not. But we'll leave that one there, my man. So of course, Chelsea win tonight. Big results as well for Liverpool. 5-0 victors, I believe. 5-1 for Arsenal. Last time I checked, 3-1 to Manchester United, courtesy of a brace from Lukaku. We will touch on some of those games if you want to find out about them, if you were watching that rather than the Chelsea-Spurs game. However, we'll jump into your calls in just a few moments. Actually, we'll go straight into that rather than goal review because there's so many games on tonight. I think we're going to touch on a number of them. But just your thoughts overall tonight. Chelsea deserve winners in your opinion?
I think just about. There was a period where Tottenham looked like they were trying to turn the screw. They looked like they were on top. And Eriksen, Son, even Lamela to a certain extent were starting to grow into the game. But Chelsea just got a goal out of nothing, it seemed. A bit of great play by Pedro, turning Alderweireld inside out. And I guess rolling back the years because Chelsea fans really don't think that he's up to much, to be honest. But I guess he's proved them wrong.
Yeah, that was a good side note for me was Pedro playing so well. There was also the goal, but then the tackle that stopped Eriksen going through on goal, and then the way he dribbled the ball out. I'm not claiming he's at the peak of his powers, but I think that, you know, especially like someone like Have Hope, who consistently he's not been relevant since 2011. Tonight, very relevant, deserves nothing but praise. And the interesting fact for me, Chelsea looked even stronger tonight when Eden Hazard left the field, which you wouldn't expect because Hazard is such a good player, one of the best in the Premier League. There just seemed to be a bit more of a coherent nature to the way Chelsea were playing ball when he went off.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is Sarri trying to prepare the team for Hazard leaving in the summer. I don't know if he's just rested him for the upcoming games, but I think you're absolutely right. Chelsea did look a better team, a better outfit when he was out of the squad. They looked more together and they didn't rely on one person to make the difference in the final third of the pitch.
Well, you've seen that recently with Spurs as well. I think that when Harry Kane was injured, they were winning more. They
were, but I think that I feel like they've missed Dele Alli more. Because I think Lamela is listen, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think he's as good as Dele Alli. He's
nowhere near Dele Alli's level. He's class. But yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll let the callers and of course the viewers decide on player performances tonight, who needs who, etc. Give us a call though on 0203 606 0315. I do believe though that we have Hope on Skype. Is that true? Well, yeah, you need to get him on and have him ready so I can just bring him in. And we need to turn our volume down, and here we'll hear you calling him. And that's annoying. So we'll do. What do you want us to do, Javern?
Take a call.
We'll take a call. That's what we'll do. I just needed a bit of direction there.
Why didn't Willian steal that goal, man?
Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
All right, boys. It's Pav.
What's up?
Hello, Pav. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you lot?
We're good.
I'm smiling, bro. Arsenal in the top 4 still. I'm good.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Pav,
I'm smiling as well, man. Man United's winning.
I was going to say, yeah.
Losing.
Remind us who you support.
Man United, bro.
Cool. Oh, sorry, the comment here says Terry got the same hair treatment Rooney got. Maybe I do need it. I'm getting old. Listen, I mean, I assume you're watching the Man United game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching both, to be fair. Man United obviously on my phone, and then had the Chelsea on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, I was watching a bit of both.
Well, tell us about the Man United game tonight. What was your thoughts on the performance?
So, you know what? It was. I actually thought the game was going to be a draw, but I didn't expect us to actually do that well. There were some players that were outstanding more than others. I mean, Fred had a kind of a stinker as usual. And then I didn't think Ashley Young was that good either. But I think Luke Shaw's man of the match again for me. That's like 2 games that I think he's been man of the match. And Lukaku wasn't too bad. He didn't really offer anything apart from the goals. He wasn't really doing anything else. His passing was quite poor. But again, Pogba there in midfield controlling it without your Matic and your Herrera. He was literally controlling it. And I actually think McTominay's doing well as well on the right. So it's actually looking good at the moment.
Big up the boy.
Yeah, without a doubt, I thought young Scotty McT, brilliant in the last 2 games, no doubt about it. I mean, interestingly, I think Ashley Young is what he is, gets the winner for Man United tonight, and I don't think that can be discounted. Yeah. And Lukaku, I mean, some of his play tonight was dreadful still, but I've said it all along with Lukaku. If he plays, he must score goals. If he doesn't have the goals, his performance is a 5 or 6 out of 10, and he did that tonight. So credit where credit is due.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go on.
To both of you as United fans, where do you see, or what do you see as Lukaku's future? Because he, like you say, he's not going to be the guy that's going to link up play. He's not going to, I don't know, maybe take 6 guys on. What's his future?
Go on, Pav. You answer that, mate.
Honestly, in my opinion, I'd sell him. I don't think he suits the gameplay, the way that we want to play. He's more of a player like he was today, where if people are injured, then you bring him in. But honestly, I can't see him being in the starting 11. I don't think you can trust him to do the job week in, week out. So for having a £75 million player who's on a lot of wages, I don't see him actually. There's no point keeping him at the club. I'd rather sell him and bring in 2 other wingers.
Do you still think that price tag is pressure though? Because I feel like that's kind of.
Do you know what
the price
tag? Yeah, it's because it don't matter. It don't matter who it is. You're paying over the odds for players. Clubs will want mega money for players, and it's true because he's not worth 75 million. And Everton paid 36 or something for him, and they literally got double what they paid for him. But he was never worth £75 million. But
he wasn't.
It's just the inflation of players. That's what it is.
But if you guys sell him now, you're definitely going to make a loss. And I don't think
anyone would pay more than 45, 50 million for him.
Definitely not. But I don't think I think you're right in saying that he's not going to be a week in, week out striker, but he's definitely a striker you can use in your squad for games like tonight. Rashford's injured. Rashford should be the one leading your line, and Lukaku's like a backup striker.
Look, the issue you've got there, you just alluded to at the end. I don't even know if the overall decision will come down to Man United. Of course, they'll say yes or no to selling him, but as far as I can tell, he's going to be a backup striker. And I think Lukaku thinks a lot more of himself than just a backup striker. And some players in the history of Man United, Ole Gunnar is a great example, was very happy to play second fiddle. However, he was in a Man United team that was winning major trophies nearly every single season. Man United are not in that position. So for Lukaku, if he knew he was going to be a backup striker and there was a great chance of winning the league every year, he might accept it.
Do it.
But he might not do that with the way Man United are. So I think he might force the issue, and Man United, no club wants a player who doesn't want to be there, and that could be the main issue, really. Just quickly, what did you make of the Chelsea Spurs game?
Do you know what? Before I get into that, I think the top 3, obviously everyone was saying Tottenham are going to get like the 3rd spot. Yeah. I literally think that spot is wide open now. The losses against Burnley and the loss tonight, I think literally Arsenal, Chelsea and United, we've all got a chance trying to get that 3rd spot. I don't think Tottenham, because some of the games they've still got to play Arsenal on the weekend. They've still got, I believe, Man City and Liverpool. That 3rd spot is literally up for grabs for any of us to take.
Well, it's interesting for Spurs tonight. Just throw this out there. It's their 2nd defeat on the bounce. It's their 8th defeat of the season. Arsenal Football Club are just 4 points behind them. Man United are just 5 points behind them. And it's, suddenly Spurs, in the space of 2 games, have gone from being in the title race to being in the top 4 race. Yeah. And that's the mentality thing again. Yeah. Spurs fans, they want to hear from you.
I think Arsenal need to beat Tottenham this weekend to do everyone else a favour. To obviously close the gap even more.
Yep, totally get that, Pav. Thank you very much.
Arsenal for the weekend to win as well.
Good. Thank you very much for your call, mate. I appreciate that. What I would say is that as a Man United fan for the weekend is you need an Arsenal Spurs draw because then they both drop points.
As a United fan, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Realistically,
but you winning,
come on.
but Arsenal winning is better than Spurs winning because what it does, it drags. And if you, of course, United have got to pick up their points, and Chelsea will want to pick up their points too.
Yeah.
It drags two teams into that, meaning you've kind of got two bites at the cherry. Where when there's only 3 teams fighting for one spot, it's a lot harder than 4 teams fighting for 2.
Yeah.
You've got a bit more of an opportunity.
You're right.
The percentages are more in your favour. Have hope ready? Let me know when you're putting him through. Have hope. Are you there?
Yeah.
Hang on, let's turn your volume up. Speak. Hello.
Yeah, could you hear me?
We can hear you. How you doing?
Speak.
Yeah, I'm alive, man. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I'm alive.
Oh, can you turn your phone?
Landscape.
Landscape. Why are we telling a YouTuber how to make a phone landscape?
Obviously,
Come on, bruv. This is not 1998.
Certain man don't know what they're doing.
Is it working now? Because we can't see. There we go. Cool. So have hope. Listen, good performance tonight from Chelsea. You pick up the 3 points. Give us your overarching views of the game and the performance from your boys.
No, look, I think, obviously the biggest talk was about responding. And because, this wasn't just about Chelsea, it was about Tottenham. How did both sides respond? How would Tottenham respond to the Burnley game and Pochettino losing his cool with McDean? How would Chelsea respond to the whole Kepa situation and Sarri losing his cool on the bench? But you just saw that Chelsea definitely had the better reaction. Like, you could just see that it was Chelsea were just the better team. They performed better. The connections were a lot better. I still don't know how Alonso still plays for a professional football side. I'm not sure what he does. If someone can tell me what Alonso contributes to planet Earth, please tell me. I'm all ears. But from there, again, it wasn't perfect. He still looks a bit iffy. But Chelsea, you just saw that Tottenham just didn't really have any ideas, and they looked pretty flat and lethargic. And Chelsea just played with much more energy, more movements, and they just had a bit more bites in their play than what Tottenham had. So yeah, it was a very, very good response after the Kepa debacle.
Question for you. What was your thoughts on Pedro's performance tonight?
You see, the thing with you have to look at the entire performance, and you can't just look at things in isolation. Before he scored the goal, he was trash. And I was trashing him online and said, look, this guy's flipping useless. How is this guy still on this pitch and a Hudson Odoi isn't playing? Because he was losing the ball, he just wasn't sharp, and he was just the Pedro that you've been seeing in the last few games, just a lack of proper technique and touch and sharpness when he's given the ball in attacking areas.
Sir?
But then the guy scores.
Sir?
Quality goal. And then from the moment he scored that goal, his performance just went up. So you can't just say it was a great performance overall, but you've got to credit him with what was a very good goal, beating a top defending Alderweireld, putting the ball through Lloris's legs, and from then on, his defending, his movement on the ball, his dribbling, everything from that goal onwards was good. But I think when you just look at it long term, fully, he's not a long term player for Chelsea. I just don't think it's it. You have to upgrade on what he brings, and I think he really is a squad bench player. He shouldn't really be a first team starter if Chelsea wouldn't try and actually make things and win trophies.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him a question, but I'm not gonna do that, man. It's fine.
Why?
Just because I already know the spiel that's gonna come, and I don't know. It's fine. Let him just have his moment,
man. Don't be afraid. Be free. Listen, it's 2019. It's 2019. Ask me anything, baby.
I'm free, bro. You live your life.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, what did you make of your the guy you fanboy over, Hazard, tonight? Dragged off after 60 minutes, didn't complete a dribble. Awful game from him. What was your viewpoints on his performance tonight?
Yeah, no, obviously Hazard wasn't really at his best today. I wouldn't call it awful. Again, he just wasn't at his best. So I don't know whether it was an injury as to why he was brought off or not. So I don't really know what that's about, whether it's a fatigue thing, an injury thing, or whatever. But again, yeah, I wouldn't call it a bad game. But as I said throughout everything, whenever you watch these Chelsea games, Hazard is that player where the things will happen through him. So even if he has a bad game, you have to still keep him on the pitch, because if anything is going to happen attacking wise, the only guy with any creative imagination or ideas is Hazard.
Then why did they take him off after 60 minutes and you look better? I mean, I'm going by what Chelsea fans were saying on social media, that they felt there was an improvement and a more coherent play from Chelsea when Hazard left the pitch. Was that a one-off performance, or do you think there's something more to be read into that?
I don't speak for all Chelsea fans. I speak for myself independently.
Yeah, but I'm asking you to assess their opinions that I was reading.
I would say they are wrong. I would respond by saying that the only way that Chelsea can do the only way they can win a Europa League, which is what they should really be going for, Hazard has to play. Without Hazard, Chelsea don't have any chance of doing anything. So that's just plain facts. So yeah.
Cool.
Okay, but he played badly tonight, and you beat one of the best teams in the league. So but you're saying without Hazard, they can't ever beat anybody ever.
One of those goals was an own goal. The other goal, again, great play from Pedro, a 1-0, and Tottenham. I don't rate Tottenham. Tottenham have been overachieving. So Chelsea beating Tottenham, yeah, okay. I remember Tottenham have a very bad record at Stamford Bridge. So Chelsea beating Tottenham at Stamford Bridge, where you're now seeing Tottenham pop in bad form after they just lost to Burnley, and Harry Kane being a flop, as you know that he always is in big games. And really, it's not really a big deal. So.
And this is
Go on.
I didn't want to ask.
No, I like to ask him because I like to get his opinions and see that. I like to see the nonsense flow from his mouth. It's entertaining to say.
Harry Claim do, man. What your boy Harry Claim do? The guy flopped it again on the big stage. What's up?
Oh, wow, please.
I get that, but hang on.
He's your boy, Terry. He's your golden boy. What did that flop do? The golden child. What did he do? He flopped, man, and he was trying to fight players.
Okay, sorry. So I know he had a poor game tonight, and he had a poor game, and I can admit that. But Eden Hazard, his last 3 games have been against Spurs, Man City, and Man United. 3 big games on the bounce. No assists, no goals. Dragged off after 60 minutes today. So you're saying that Harry Kane doesn't perform in the big games. What about the last 3 big games on the back? And actually, the game before that was against Man City, where you got beat 6-0. He did nothing in that game either. So 4 of your last 4 games, barring the Europa League game, have been massive games for Manchester City. And Eden Hazard has disappeared in all of them. Why would you not criticise him in the same way as you do Harry Kane?
Hazard... First of all, Hazard and Harry Kane should be put in the same sentence because Harry Kane is overrated and is not in Hazard's class. That's the first thing. He's an overhyped English media darling. And also, Hazard was the best player in that Man City beat down. So, again, that's just using the eye test, not using the
Okay. So I
know you start mentions, but I'm not.
No, but I'm saying this to you. So, in the last 10 games, he played against Chelsea. When you played Arsenal, he did absolutely nothing in that game. Did score against Tottenham in the 2-1 victory, but then did nothing in the second half in the 6-0 drumming by City. Nothing at all against Manchester United in the FA Cup. Forget stats. He did nothing in the game. He worked hard. He played quite well actually against Chelsea at the weekend, but didn't create anything, barring one good moment, and had an absolute stinker tonight. But you're not willing to criticise. The guy you found, you're not willing to criticize Eden Hazard in any way, shape, or form.
Wait, sorry. I just said that he had a bad game today. He had a bad game today, but Chelsea cannot do anything without Hazard. Hazard is needed if Chelsea wants to win any of the trophies because he's that talented.
I get he's talented. He's talented.
You do realize
he's talented.
Messi was
but
crap
in
at the World
6.
Cup.
But
Cristiano was crap at the World Cup. So, come on.
He's talented, and of course Chelsea need him. But my question is, why are you not criticising him when in 6 of his last 7 big games, he has not shown up and delivered? 6 of his last 7 big games, he has not shown up and delivered. Why?
Maybe in your view, he's not delivered. In my view, in those games, he has been one of the best players on the pitch, which you don't see through stats.
Being the tallest dwarf doesn't make it a good performance. At the end of the day, in those games, he hasn't created, he hasn't been clinical, he hasn't been efficient, he hasn't delivered the moments that have mattered. In all those games you're adding up, Pedro's done more than him.
Don't be a stats merchant. You're being a stats merchant. You're too old to be a stats merchant.
Where have I mentioned? I've mentioned stats as an aspect of my argument. I haven't solely focused.
That's what you're basing it on. You're basing it.
Says who?
Says who? No, because the fact that you're saying that he has flopped in all those games means you haven't watched those games.
I said.
If you watched those games and you understood football, You know, like he was one of those. Was one of the best players.
That's a
in
cop
most
out. Have
games.
hope. Have hope. See, that's a cop out. That's what people do when they've got no argument. They just say, "Well, you're dumb and you don't understand football." Explain to me. Explain to me. Explain to me. Have hope.
Bro. You're better than that.
Have hope.
Come on, bro.
No. See, again, that's just you're just trying to defer. You're not answering the question. Explain to me.
I'm just saying,
Let me ask you a question. Listen. This is the debate, but you're not answering questions. You're just calling me stupid. But you can't answer my question. So who's the dumb one? Answer my question. Listen to my question and answer it. In the game where you got beat 2-0 by Arsenal, in the game where you got beat 2-0 by Man United, in the game tonight, those 3 games stand out. What did he do of any real note? Explain the moments, the minutes in the game, who he passed to, what went wrong. Explain what he did, not statistics. Explain what he did in those games, the minutes they happened, and what. Go.
But see, first of all, I have to, because I cannot remember those games, but from my memory, memory I have, based on how I view football, whenever Hazard has the ball, he is the only guy that is trying to creatively make things happen. And when you're trying to creatively make things happen, sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. But if other players around you are not on your same wavelength, I don't have the same 1-2 wavelength first time touch as you do, those things will break down and then the stats will show, oh, you're not being effective. So this has gone to the narrative. I've always said that Hazard should really be judged by playing along high class players. And that's just the fact of the matter. Anybody who understands football will see Hazard is far too good for the team. And Hazard needs to be in a team that have top-class players. Willian, Higuain, Pedro are not top-class players. They're simply not top-class players. They're average at best. So it is what it is.
So on tonight's game as an example, because Higuain and because Pedro are not top-class players, that meant that Eden Hazard was unable to complete a dribble.
I just said that tonight was a bad game from Hazard. Did you hear what I just said? Hazard had a bad game tonight. He was ineffective tonight. This was not one of his good games. He's afforded a bad game. But you're going off point here because he's the best player. So what's your point?
I know he's the best player, but what I want to see from you is more fair criticism, because you the other day were calling Mo Salah a flat track bully because he hasn't performed in enough of the. You said he was limited because he hasn't. Hang on, let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentence. You said he was limited because he hasn't performed in enough of the big games this year. Okay, my point to you is you're never anywhere near critical enough of Eden Hazard when 6 of the last 7 games against huge opponents he has failed to deliver. In your opinion, one of the top 3 players in the world, he has failed to deliver a performance or statistics or efficiency anywhere near one of the top 3 players in the world. And I want to understand just why you don't criticize him in the same way.
Oh, because Salah literally does nothing in the big games. Literally nothing.
But that's a lie. That is a lie. That is a lie. That's a lie.
When I'm trying to respond.
That's a lie. To my show, I can do what I want. That's a lie. I can't have you lying on the show. I can't have you lying on the show.
You can't ask the question.
I can. You can sit here and be deluded on the air. It's my show. I can do what I want. Like, you wear sunglasses indoors. That's down to you.
Have a conversation. You can't talk over someone.
Of course I can. Of course I can. I'm doing it.
I'm
doing it. I can't let you continue to lie though. I've got to shut the lies down. You can't lie. To say Mo Salah doesn't.
Ask me the question.
But you're lying. Why are you lying? Go on. Why are you lying?
Okay, let me finish to respond.
No, I don't want to hear lies. Why did you lie about Eden? Why did you lie that Salah does nothing in big games ever? Why did you lie?
Don't shout. Don't shout.
Why did you lie? I shout. I do what I want, bro. No, answer the question. If you don't answer the question, I'm muting you. Why did you lie? Why did you lie? Go.
Are you done?
Why did you lie?
No. I'll wait until you're done. I'll wait until you're done. Are you done?
Why did you lie? Go.
Thank you. Now, so with regards to Salah, in those big games, he has literally done nothing in those games. He's pretty much disappeared. I even forget that he's actually on the pitch. But with regards to Hazard, maybe there may be misplaced passes here and there, but every time he has the ball, he's at least trying to make things happen. Almost similar to what Mane does. Because Mane, even in the Man United game, people say that he had a bad game, but I still give Mane more credit over Salah because Mane is at least trying to make things happen. So I will still give credit to someone that actually shows up and tries to make things happen with the ball than someone that literally disappears and done nothing. And it goes to my whole point saying that Salah is limited because he's only reliant on his goals, which is why I said that you were wrong calling Salah the best attacking player in the Premier League because the guy just solely relies on his goals, and he's very limited as a player because he's so left-footed.
Okay, so you just said like a moment ago, like top players are allowed to have off games. Did he say that, or am I making that up?
Oh yeah, no, I said that.
Cool. So yeah, Mo Salah has definitely had some performances in the big games this season where he hasn't delivered. Not even. Yeah, Casper the Ghost. You can be nasty, you can be flippant, you can do those things. But what I find, what's frustrating about you, and why the viewers comment about you the way they do, is that you don't afford Mo Salah or Harry Kane or Rashford the same excuses that you produce out of your backside as you do for Eden Hazard. And that's the problem with what you talk. And that's the issue you have, because one minute, I nearly said your real name then, because one minute you're the real you that knows football, the next minute you're your version of Borat, where you're this character Have Hope, and it drags you down to a really sore level. To say that Mo Salah does nothing in big games is your brain is limiting itself to only remembering a handful of poor performances this year in big games. It's absolutely astonishing that you throw accusations at people that they don't understand football. If they knew anything about football, they would know this. That's just an insult to cover up your own abhorrent, poor, straw man-like arguments.
Okay, let me briefly explain the point. My thing with that is that when I look at Harry Kane and Salah, they're not very good football players. Technically, I don't think they're very proficient in the game of football. When I look at Hazard, yes, at the World Cup, Hazard is simply on a much higher level. So putting Hazard in the same category as Salah and Kane is insulting to someone of Hazard's quality.
Okay.
Hazard is just of a higher footballing level. So when you're actually of a higher footballing level, I'm viewing you differently because things you're doing on the pitch is of a different, higher, much more complex level than guys like Kane and Salah, who simply are not that great at the sports. And it's simple as that. They're still effective. They're good at what they do. But Kane and Salah simply cannot sit at the same table as a Hazard, a Neymar, a Messi,
you've just done it again. Have hope. Have hope. Have hope.
As well.
Have hope. Through the have hope fuckery of football theory, what you have done is absolutely destroyed yourself again, because you have just said that it's like embarrassing and it's insulting to even compare Salah and Harry Kane to Eden Hazard, which is fine, right? Yeah. So you're saying there's levels and differences apart from them. But that makes Eden Hazard look even worse for not performing in 6 of his last 7 major games. Do you understand the comparison you're making here? It's like comparing Jody Marsh to Michelle Keegan. You're literally saying you're literally. But hang on a minute, you just said a minute ago you don't even rate Spurs. You don't rate Spurs. They're not a great team. So at the same time, so Spurs ain't a great team, but yet Harry Kane's a bum because he goes missing in a big game. But Eden Hazard is one of the best players in the world, and if he goes missing for 6 of his last, if he goes missing for the last 6 of his last 7 games, that's completely acceptable because players in his team aren't good enough. Have hope, my friend. Look, you're a good guy. I like you, but your love of Eden Hazard, and as I call, that's going to be the name now. The have hope fuckery of football theory. It's just destroying people's earlobes, mate. Good night and God bless. Take care of yourself, buddy. Bye bye.
God bless. Thank you guys. Adam, take care. Javel, you're my guy.
This guy is this guy's funny. We're done with that part of the conversation. That's over. I love the guy. I do genuinely like him, but I mean the disrespect shown there to Mo Salah, but then won't answer the question about his own guy going missing game after game. Now I'm telling you now, you've been in here with him, and he can answer this next time he's on the show. Because by the way, this is no echo chamber. He's welcome back on. If Marcus Rashford had 3 big games on a bounce like this, he would be sitting in here during the game singing his song "Where Is Rashford." He would, and it's funny. Look, you've seen me in here. I'll take the banter, right? I'll take the banter on that. But for him, when Eden Hazard disappears, and today was the worst performance of all those 6 games I'm mentioning, or maybe it's 5 out of 6, he just defends him with, he's surrounded by poor quality. He's surrounded by this, surrounded by that. Slags off the quality of Tottenham's team, but then doesn't hold that accountable for maybe Harry Kane not always being at his absolute best, which is what I looked at tonight. And then to say Harry Kane's got no footballing ability, we sat here and clapped, and this is an Arsenal fan here, we sat here and clapped 2 or 3 of his passes tonight because they were so good.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, he knows. Let's do some more phone calls anyway, but yeah, have hope. A few people saying, Terry, you can't not let people speak. Yeah, it's my show. I can, if UFF want to sack me, I will shake their hands and move on. But when it's my show, I do what the hell I want. This is my world. But there we go. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
It's good. It's Arsenal Tony again.
Hello, Tony, mate. How you doing, brother?
I'm over the moon. I'm very well, thank you.
I bet you are. 2 games on the bounce, a handful of points away from your bitter rivals Tottenham. Things seem to have turned around a little bit at Arsenal. Are you feeling a bit more positive yourself?
I am. I've got a smile on my face for one of the few times this season. And I actually want to say, I actually want to talk to Adam quickly. Is Adam there?
Yeah, is it?
Adam's here.
I just want to speak to Adam and say, I saw his video he put on the Ultimate Football Fan channel, a personal video where he criticised the team, yeah? And can I say he was spot on? So when I said he was in the same league as Ty in Delusion, I do apologise and I retract that statement.
You know,
Do you know,
thank you, sir.
that's very big of you, Tony, I would say, yeah?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I'm more than big enough to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about Adam. We might have disagreed on certain things at the start of the season, but me and him seem to be on the same page now, and I must say it seems he's right. So again, I do apologise for putting him in the same category as
Ty. I'm just laughing because of Ty. Listen, thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate that, honestly.
I just want to say though, based on the performance, the performance is perfect. 5-star, 5 goals. I actually think if you'd have asked me a couple of months ago if we could beat Spurs away, I'd have said no chance. Ooh. Now, I think we can beat Spurs at the weekend.
I mean, I want to agree with you, especially considering we've just got this newfound bond. But I think Spurs away might be... It's going to be difficult. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to say Spurs can beat us, but yeah, I think if there was ever a game that Spurs were going to turn up at to try and rekindle their form, it would be Arsenal at home. And yeah, you know how we get. Like, we can see goals.
Of course. But isn't it funny how tables have turned where I'm actually more positive than Adam?
I know. It's crazy, isn't it? Football's a funny old game.
Do you know what? It's what I love about football fans from all clubs. We are the most fickle of beings. And, you know, because... And it's interesting because a lot of football fans get a lot of jip because we focus on the passion side of football because we love our football clubs. And I don't think some modern day fans, some hipster fans, they don't really get it. But when you're ruled by passion and you're ruled by love, I think that's where the fickleness kind of comes into things. I understand where you're at in terms of playing Spurs, and I'll throw this out there for Tottenham fans. If Arsenal beat Spurs on Saturday, I actually think they're going to fall outside the top 4. By the end of the season, I'm talking.
If we beat Spurs, are we in the title race?
That's funny. Not quite. But go on.
Say one thing quickly. Yeah, if we finish above Spurs this season, like I said to you, we're doing a podcast called the Rants Boys Podcast. If we finish above Spurs this season, then everyone can put their suggestions on our podcast what forfeit they want me to do, because I will do any forfeit if that happens.
Yeah, I can think. Well, we've got a good one. Put a draw, put like a pin, like a pin down the front of your toenail, and then kick a wall.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
No, you don't do that. You don't want to do that. That will hurt, brother. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that.
But I am over the moon, honestly. From when I first called interviews against West Ham when we lost, and I was so down and depressed. Like, I feel on such a high level right now.
That's after. Is that 2 wins? That's well, actually, you're 3 wins on the bounce. Actually, for Arsenal, 3 wins on the bounce.
Well, we got a loss to flipping Barty in there.
Well, hats off, respect to Adam. No bad tensions.
Fair play, mate.
Adam, fellow Gooner.
Tony,
all love, bro.
Well done. Do you know what? Well done for being a real big man, for admitting when you did something wrong. Yeah, big of you to do that. Well done. Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much.
Take care. It's nice when someone rings up and does that and does
I'm gonna go to bed a happy man tonight.
Because to be fair, me and you, we get a lot of stick on the show.
We do. Well, we're just, I don't know.
It's because there's no echo chambers in here. That's why we can say what we want. And well done to you as well. We're not in the same room, by the way.
No, we're not. I just had to reach.
A few people are asking on here, right? They're saying, who owns UFF? Because I'm getting Terry sacked. Go for it. Like, it won't. I'm not going to say what I was about to say.
Lift your mic up.
What?
Lift your mic up a bit.
Which one?
Adam's one.
Adam's one. Oh yeah, it won't really affect me if they get rid of me.
Whoa, man, chill, bro.
Like I'll be gutted because I love being in here, but I would just say,
chill,
cool.
bro.
Like it's sweet as brother. It's one of them.
Next
things.
segment. Next segment.
Let's throw a few tweets and Twitter comments up on the old board in front of us. I don't know where that one's from, but there's a new one going up here anyway. Honestly, Trippier is a joke. He's been woeful all season. Imagine not getting top 4 now. That is Gino Miller. Yeah, like we were saying earlier, hadn't we? That a few of the England boys, Trippier, Pickford, really good World Cups.
Maguire as well, you know.
But really average. Although he did a bit of a messy dribble last night. Did you see it?
Nah.
Find it on Twitter. It's the most outrageous dribble. It really is. Here is one that says Marcos Alonso over Trippier.
Don't do that, man.
Yeah.
That guy's a murderer. Don't do that.
There we go. So what's this one here? Go read that one out for us, please, mate. When it loads.
Sam Jackson. Tell you what, though, it's been so nice to see Chelsea play with a bit of passion this evening. Pedro, Kante, Kovacic, Rudiger, Hazard, all showing good heart. Hashtag Chetot.
There we go. Absolutely. Man United based one here from MUFC for life, said Ashley Young showboating. It really is a good night. Right towards the end, he actually, do you know what's funny? In the second half, so the low played as an attacking player tonight for Man United. And then when they took him off later on in the game, they brought on Eric Bailly. And Youngie went forward to playing kind of wide right. Yeah. And I instantly thought, he's so much better. You haven't got to worry about him being defensive. It's just, that's his natural position.
He's not that bad defensively, though, is he?
He's not, but you know what it's like? It's square pegs in round holes. You have to really force it, do you know what I mean? But he ain't too bad. There we go. There's another one, folks, on the same thing. Here's one actually I'm going to throw up. Important goals today from Lukaku. Hopefully he keeps on going. The only thing I disagree with that on there with you, Ryan Harrison, is that means that Rashford gets put out of the team. Comment here regarding Liverpool. Sam Van Dijk, best centre-back in the world. He scored a brace tonight.
A brace?
Yeah, when you left the room to go to the bathroom, he scored another goal. He scored 2 goals.
Oh,
he scored 2.
Days.
He scored 2 tonight, which was crazy.
Best centre-back in the world is a definite stretch.
Well, I know what you'll get. I know what Have Hope would say. He goes, he'd attack you for support being English, or maybe being English, and say you need to watch other leagues. But that's also interesting tonight, because I'd ask Have Hope this question. Because tonight, there was the Copa del Rey, right? Yeah. So I didn't ask him because he started talking some smack about most. And by the way, Liverpool fans, again, 2 shows running I've defended your boy.
Give him some credit.
I am not biased. I just have opinions.
Give the man.
There we go. Another some interesting ones here that's up here. Says Spurs, the bottlers. They are bottlers. I'm sorry. I know that Spurs fans keep... Some Spurs fans said to me the other day when I called them bottlers. He went, I thought you don't like echo chambers. And I'm like, well, okay, just because I promote no echo chambers doesn't mean I can't agree with some opinions that are the consensus.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is I can have an opinion on anything I want, and I can say it, and the environment I'm in accepts that I'm saying it.
Idiot.
If I'm lying, we shut that down, by the way. We shut lying down on here. So to say that Mo Salah don't perform in big games is a lie. It's not factual.
We don't do them things.
We've got to shut you down. It's some Have Hope comments here, I think.
Mitch Dickens. Why is this dude wearing sunglasses indoors? He's not. He's not played.
He does it because he thinks nobody's going to recognise him.
Yeah, no one's gonna
I told you. Have Hope, the character, is Borat. He's his own version of Borat. Ali G. What's the other one? More like Bruno, to be fair. If you ever hear him laugh when he gets tickled, he sounds more like Bruno.
Little do you not know, he's real. He's like that all the time.
Yeah, when he's in here, he's always in character. He never comes out. I've never seen what the real Have Hope is like. You got what I was doing there. There we go. What's this one here? Oh, I deleted the one I wanted to put up. But it basically, how much did the sunglasses cost? Was it £1?
That's peak, man.
I know.
I thought it was £150.
There's an interesting one here saying Salah scored 4 goals in his last 3 international games for Egypt, including a corner goal.
Who was he playing though, bruv? Come on, man. Probably like Mali and all them teams there.
But that would be an interesting one for Have Hope, because it would be the same collection of teams know that his Nigerian team play, and he would celebrate victories that they have. So is he going to play down the continent and slag off his continent just to get one over on the Mo Salah hate that he has?
Nigerian Messi, innit? It will be.
Yeah, man actually says that. Let's do a few more phone calls, please, J-Ron. Hello, welcome to FanPark Live. What's your name?
Hello.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Jay.
Hello, who do you support, mate?
Chelsea.
Chelsea fan. Listen, much better performance and, of course, a great result tonight for you, beating your enemy Spurs. Tell us your thoughts and feelings on the game.
Yeah, no, I was happy with the performance, but I came to really to talk about Hazard.
Yeah, go speak about Hazard, my man. Go on.
All right. So basically, as in I've seen like on this show, like he's been pretty much being talked about as like a sort of nanny.
What do you mean? Sorry.
He joined in 2012.
Sorry. Go back here. What do you mean as a nanny? Do you mean as a Luis nanny or as a nanny that looks after children?
That's exactly what he means.
Nanny as in United's nanny. That's how he's been talked about.
Okay, by who?
Yeah.
That's the picture that's been painted that I've seen.
So who has compared him to Luis Nanny? Who has said he's at Luis Nanny standard? Who has said those words?
So basically you called him like a Ribery or a Robin, right?
Yeah, but they're much better than Luis Nanny.
But but the thing is, you compared him to Ribery and Robin, but you've also talked about him as if he's extremely inconsistent and he plays on a level like that. I'm just giving you a play of who I've seen that you've pretty much compared him to.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Okay.
Yeah. If we look at when he joined, he joined in 2012, right?
Yeah.
And since then, Chelsea have won 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup, and a League Cup, and he's dragged them through all of those cups. He's pretty much dragged them to winning them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were called Hazard FC when, like during the times when, so we were pretty much called Hazard FC around that time. Yeah. So he pretty much dragged them to these titles. What other player in the top 3? So, well, besides City, obviously, has done that.
Okay. What do you mean at the clubs? So what are you talking about here? Like,
yeah. So
okay.
if you look at the current United squad, if you look at the current Arsenal
squad, I disagree. Okay. Well, with the current Man United squad, no one, we haven't won a title. I think if you go back, Man United, a lot of fans said that the year that Robin van Persie won the title, he dragged us through to it. But again, if you speak to Man United fans, David De Gea's performance is hugely influential. What Michael Carrick was doing in midfield, influential. If you look at Chelsea,
of course, but what about the current crop?
What about it? What about
What about the current crop of players? Like, for example, you talked about Martial.
Yeah.
You talked about Dele Alli, and you talked about Aguero.
Yeah.
So, of all those players, I'd say only Aguero has done for his team what Hazard's done in the Premier League. He's won 2 titles for the club, and no other team has relied on a player more than Chelsea.
But why does that mean that he's not inconsistent? No one's ever denied his talent. No one's ever
No. I'm talking about position. I'll give you, like, this is the reason why Chelsea fans put him on such a pedestal as the best player in the Premier League, because he's done so much for the club, and he's done. He's achieved so much, which other players haven't. That's why he's on this pedestal.
So on that, that's fine. I mean, pedestals are very, very dangerous places to put people in life. If you ever have a partner and you put her or him on a pedestal, you could get really hurt. So I wouldn't do that. Equally, your point.
Well, it's a poor choice of words, but you get what I'm saying.
I get you, but I think it's dangerous, and I think people do put him on a pedestal. Equally, I don't believe in this one-man team notion. Now, we take the 2 biggest examples out there. Messi at at Barca, Ronaldo at Real Madrid. People say one-man teams. Now, they're not a one-man team because there is quality from front to back in the best teams that those individuals have played in. But they just have an outstanding player that drags them forward. If you look at Chelsea's last 2 title-winning teams that Hazard was part of, go through that team. You're talking about an absolute peak Diego Costa as an example. You're talking about an extremely good, still in the prime of his career, Cesc Fabregas. You're talking about an N'Golo Kante that came in for the 2nd title and pushed you forward. You talk about Matic when he came, and he was brilliant in those 2 or 3 years at the club. That's just Azpilicueta, one of the best defenders in the league. So, you had Petr Cech and then you had Courtois, some of the best goalies in the world. So, Eden Hazard was maybe the crowning jewel within that setup, but there was quality the whole way around him. So this notion that one player drags you through, I don't agree with it. So, to your point, what other teams have players that do that? Nobody, because I don't believe that they actually exist. Because Messi wouldn't win a game of football if he played by himself. Thus, he can't be a one-man team. But what I would throw back at you, because you've phoned up, and I understand your viewpoint, you take my criticism of Hazard, but you go, rather than looking at A and B, you're looking at A between A and Z. Now, I would never disrespect Eden Hazard and say that he's on Luis Nani's level. He is a superior player to Luis Nani. Absolutely no doubt about it. My argument when it comes to people like have hope about Eden Hazard is, one, when he has bad runs of form, like for me right now, in the last 4 or 5 games, in big games, he has not turned up.
He was amazing against City.
When?
He was amazing.
When? What City? What City game? What City game?
The City game where we drew 1-0.
Yeah, and I said he was very good in that game.
The City game where you lost the cup final, bro.
Yeah, as in the result. But did you watch him play? He was ridiculous.
Okay,
he was one of the best.
Okay, listen. Let me finish my point anyway. So,
okay, sure, go on.
I think he was good in that game, and I praised him after the show. But if you go through all the big games recently, the Arsenal defeat, the 6-0, the Man United at home tonight, that's 4 or 5. For me, for a player of his quality, he delivered nowhere near the standards that I would expect. What I want to see from football fans is the criticism of his performance in the same way that you would criticise a lesser player with lower expectations who doesn't perform in those games. So I'm not saying that Eden Hazard is a bad player. And when I say inconsistent, this is where people, they take what I say and they twist it to feed their own vanity. When I say inconsistent, I'm talking about when people compare him to the very best players in the world. Because people like Have Hope, as an example, and many Chelsea fans agree with him, put him just below Lionel Messi. Many of them say,
definitely not.
Okay. He says much better than Cristiano Ronaldo as a player.
That's not right.
And all I've ever, these are my points on Eden Hazard. I've only ever said that I don't think he's anywhere near Messi and Ronaldo. I've only ever said at this stage in his career, if he retired tomorrow, I could not put him into the same category as your Thierry Henrys and your Zidans. I don't think he's, or your Ronaldinho's. He's not at that level.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, so you agree with them too. And my only other point is, I don't think he's the undeniable best in the Premier League. I think there's a debate around it that could be had.
Yeah, there is a debate. But,
so, you agree with all 3 of my points. That's it.
But what I'm saying is, on the show in general, it's talked about. So I heard the Drifty saying he's a 1 in 15 player or something. He plays like 15 games a season. And I heard someone else. I heard Rand say he's a 1 in 4 player. Yeah. So like, okay, I agree he's inconsistent, but I think the narrative is being twisted a bit. Like, he's not as inconsistent as being made out in general, I think.
Okay, like I'm not quite sure what people expect of Hazard, and for me, my personal gripe is that there's a lot of like stuff said about Hazard that I don't think can be matched to him. For you to say that he was ridiculous or extremely good in the Manchester City game, I think that's ludicrous. A ridiculous performance.
He was one of the best. It was a very cagey match.
Okay. One of the best to me does not mean ridiculous, because everybody. I would even give someone like Kevin De Bruyne in that game a 5 out of 10, because I think Kevin De Bruyne was poor. And if people such as KDB were having a 5, for Hazard to be better than that, for me, is not that difficult. Ridiculous is someone like Messi versus Tottenham in the Champions League in 2018. Ridiculous is someone like Griezmann in the what's that European competition? Europa League 2016. It completely went out my head. Like, that's a fantastic performance. But Hazard, he has those games, you can't deny that. But it's more that it is inconsistent, and you're right. I don't think it's as maybe inconsistent as we might sometimes make it out to be.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and just quickly on the one-man team point. If you look at Willian and Pedro, right? Willian's been the main winger for Chelsea, right? Opposite Hazard on the other side. Yeah. So the people making things happen at the front, right?
Yeah.
Willian has 5 goals a season. He literally has less than 5 goals a season.
Okay.
And in terms of assists, I think he has even less than that. 5 assists, less than 5 assists a season.
Okay.
So if we're looking at a top side, all the top sides of the last 5-10 years, I don't think that a player has relied in terms of the attack as much as we have as Hazard. When Hazard doesn't play, we're completely flat.
But on that point, see, this is where I just get I love the debate, and it never makes any sense, because if you throw low statistics out about Eden Hazard, people say it's not about stats, it's about the eye test. But then to criticise a Willian, it's he doesn't score enough.
Willian doesn't do anything else. As in Hazard, his stats aren't ridiculous, but he's creating chances. Like, for example, in the league, he was on the highest created chances this season for a long time. Only recently he's been knocked off the pedestal, the top spot.
But in terms, but that depends what stats you want to look at, because there are chances created, and then you have the Premier League's official stats which show big chances created. When you create an opportunity where it's deemed easier to score than it is to miss, and actually he's pretty much on par with your Mo Salahs. I think Dele Alli has created more than him over a 2 or 3 year period, rather than just one isolated season. Like I say, Eden Hazard, when he's on point, is absolutely world class. The best dribbler in the league. I was saying just the other day, when he's cornered and he's got his back to a player, his hold up play, I find I said it today, he's the best in the league. There's so much about him that is. But my issue is I can't abide and sit there and watch a man that great not be criticised when he has a poor game, and then people defend it. The way I've always criticised football players, and again, this is my show and I'll do things in my own image, I have higher expectations at my club, Man United, for Paul Pogba, Martial and Rashford than I do Jesse Lingard. So if Jesse Lingard pulls a 5, 6 out of 10 performance, I'm actually easier on him than I am if Pogba or Martial does it, because the expectations are a lot higher, you know. It's a bit like, you know, you're at school, teachers are always harder on the intelligent kids because they can actually do the work. It's the same difference. For me, Eden Hazard is up, his standards are here. So when he falls below it, he deserves to be criticised. And I think for me, what I hear too much of from Chelsea fans is, he's surrounded by a lack of quality, poor management, there's always an excuse afforded to him. But yet when they throw salt at another top player, they never afford him the same excuses, and that's straight out hypocrisy. And I think maybe my frustrations for the way that people criticise some and not others, people take it as like a personal insult on Eden Hazard. All I'm doing is using Eden Hazard as the example I'm making around somebody's own hypocrisies and bias in their footballing sort of analysis of the game, as opposed to attacking him as a player, because I really like him. And I think that people, you know, my 3 points, I'll repeat, not on Messi or Ronaldo's level, isn't in the same category as Zidane's and Henry's in his career. Yeah, he could do it. He's got years. You know, he could go on the next 5 years and push himself into there, and he's not the undeniable best because people debate it. People take that as I don't, and then people take that as I don't rate him. It's crazy.
I agree that he is, like, in terms of what he's achieved and stuff, I would put him on par with like Robin and Ribéry. That's what I put him on right now in terms of. And that's
so, like, mate. So me and you are actually in agreement on all 4 things.
Yeah, but it wasn't a direct criticism at you. It was the way that he was talked about on the show.
Yeah, but you got to remember this. Okay, I get that.
He turns on 15 games a season.
I get you mean. Okay, I get that. What you got to remember is about FanPark Live and what we do. There's no echo chambers. Anyone's opinion is welcome. You might get shot down for having a bad opinion if we don't like it, but then you can air it. It's, you know, we're not gonna.
Nah, we'll hang up on you, mate.
Yeah. We never hang. Well, we might hang up now. Listen, I appreciate that call, mate. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Cheers. Thank you. It's nice to get to an understanding at the end.
It's been a good show.
That I was right. Are you joking? There we go. Listen, everybody that's tuned in, thank you. Take care of yourselves. God bless. We'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Bless you, man.
Hello and welcome to FanPark Live.
It was absolutely nothing.
A breakdown of the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Guy three leagues below to the guy that we're used to seeing.
3 shots, none on target, couple of nice dribbles.
We've got a tweet here, actually, we're going to push up onto the screen from Andy O'Connell.